Welcome back, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my new breakup with hustle culture. Hustle culture is dead, to me at least, and I'm going to let you guys know what I'm leaning into instead, and it's really working for me, and we're just going to have a conversation about hustle culture versus the embodiment of just gratitude and living your best life without feeling like you have to be doing more and more and more all the time. So head on over to today's video and we'll have a chat. Welcome back to the Art and Yoga and Wellness Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kira Whitaker. So today I'm going to talk about something, I guess you could say it's personal. It's really just something that's been kind of heavy on my heart, but also has come up so many times in the last few months in some of my close relationships, and even some of my clients. And so anytime there's a reoccurring theme with me personally, but then also something that is organically coming up in multiple conversations with me. I always try to take a pause and think about it and look at it and sit with it and see if there's something there that needs attention, see if there's something there that needs care, see if that's an area of potential growth. And so that's what I've been doing with the topic that we're gonna go over today. Today is going to be, this is just my opinion. These are just my feelings and where I'm at. If you're not in that season, that's great. You don't need to be in the same season as me. But on the off chance that there's a few people that listen that feel like what I'm going to talk about today gives them words to the way they've been feeling, or is just something that they're like, oh, well, that's a perspective that I don't have, then great. The last few weeks, I've talked a lot more just about kind of more of a clinical side of coaching and behavior change. And so it also just felt good today for me to switch it up a little bit. And so I think what I'm going to call today's episode, I think the title will be Hustle Culture is Dead, to me at least. I understand it is not dead to everyone, but to me, it is not feeling aligned at all with me anymore. I'm in a season of life right now where it just is not, it's not working. And so I'm going to break this down into two different parts today. I'm going to talk about it from a business perspective for me, and then I'm also going to talk about it from a relationship standpoint. And I'm going to tie in the relationship part with my relationship with my household and my kids and my husband, and then also some of the conversations I've had with some friends of mine. So before I get to that, I want to talk about why I feel like I need to talk about this today. So if you rewind the tape a bit, last year, and I've done multiple podcasts on this, like life updates and business updates and stuff, but for those of you that need me to just kind of give you a snapshot, I'm going to do that. So I guess really honestly, who am I kidding? The last 15 years has been wild, but specifically the last few years were a season of life for me where it was just a different kind of speed and hustle. And I'm not adverse to that at all. The studio, when I started it, I had small kids. I had zero money. I had zero investors or financial backing. And I was just literally teaching 7 days a week to pay the rent on the studio. And so I've been in seasons of hustle, and I think it's required. I think that hard work is invaluable. I think that the feeling of entitlement of you deserve it without the hard work and the backbone behind that and the sacrifice is probably not going to help people. I think that idea and that mindset is not going to serve anybody. So this is not me saying that hard work is not important, because it is. I'm just talking about a different energy around the work today. So the last few years have been so busy and so I don't even know the word past busy, just wild, in so many different ways. So a couple of things just that were really time consuming and also really forced me to stretch in ways that I don't want to say equipped, but I had to do a lot of new learnings. So we finished our mountain house, which was something that we didn't even plan to do in the first place. It was something that we just kind of stumbled across, and then we designed and finished a house ourselves, which was an hour away. So that was a lot. That was another job for us. Significant changes in my husband's business last year, and it was a lot of back end stuff that I helped with / did. So with our financial advisors and our attorneys and our accountants, a lot of changes with that was really time consuming. And again, forced me to learn things I don't know. Same with the house. I'm not a general contractor. And then I finished up a long program, the health coaching program that I went through. That was a few years. We made a lot of significant changes to our yoga and wellness. I backed off a lot on my in-person offerings of yoga therapy and then created a lot more online resources. So yoga videos, health coaching courses, and then also opened a second service, which was health coaching. So even though I backed off on a lot of my in-person yoga clients, I replaced those hours with health coaching clients. And then, as you know, because you're listening, the podcast was a huge undertaking because start to finish, that was launched in like 4 months. So a lot of things in the past few years, a lot of things. Not to mention, I have a middle schooler now. I have a 5th grader, and our kids are busier. They are doing travel sports and they have practices and they're at different schools now. And so there's a lot more dividing and conquering. So that's just to kind of paint a picture where we're at. Well, the thing about all of that is it's great. But I have just felt this pressure, and a lot of it's the pressure that I put on myself of what's next? Okay, what's next? You landed here, what's next? And more. And scale. I mean, that's something that you hear online all the time, especially if you're a business owner, is scale and more and more. And I really, really leaned into that because I thought, I've been in business for so long. So what's the next thing, right? Like businesses are meant to grow, and mine has consistently grown, but it's always just been organic. It hasn't really been because there's a push. Well, another thing that's been a factor of that is because so many things are online now, that has made me feel like I need to be online more, which I honestly don't love. I love talking in this space. But once I'm home, I don't like showing behind the scenes. That's a sacred time with me and my family. So I felt it's like once we checked the boxes and got done with so many projects the last few years, I felt this pressure. And again, nobody put it on me. A lot of it was just me absorbing things that I probably should have had a better boundary with, to do more. What is next? How do we grow this? Growth. And over the past few months, it has just really, really not sat well. And I have felt so conflicted in my spirit about it. It is not aligned with my values. It is not aligned with, honestly, who I am as a business owner and a provider. When I say a provider, I mean, a healthcare and wellness provider. And so I finally the other day had words put in front of me to give me the ability to articulate exactly how I have felt for months and months. So I was on Instagram. Yes, I was scrolling. And somebody's feed came up that I follow, but I swear to you, I haven't seen their stuff in 8,000 years because it's just somebody that I don't really look at. And they had reposted on a carousel this post from somebody else I had never heard of. And it was, the sentiment of it was, was females and just leaning into the slowdown and the presence and almost taking back your homes. And she talked about it from a business standpoint. And even, I think she even mentioned that she had put a lot of her courses and things that she was doing in her books. I think she's a writer, on hold because it just didn't feel aligned. And the way that she articulated it, I just went, oh my gosh, this is how I felt. And so that's what I'm going to kind of break down in two different segments. So the first is my business. And I'm going to tell you the story that I have been living by and where the lie was for me. So the story that I've been living by the past few years is growth. I need to scale, and I need to serve as many clients as possible. I need to serve as many people as possible. I need to sacrifice now so that the fruits of now's labor will be present later on with my kids. Put in the work now so that I have time with them, later and with grandkids. That work a lot of times needs to trump the attention that my family gets. If work is not done, then I need to complete those tasks. It needs to have my attention. It needs to have accessibility to me. For me, those are complete lies. And the reason that those were not working for me is because they directly conflicted with my values and what I would tell clients, honestly. What I'm leaning into now is really, really downsizing even more. I have the most amazing clients, you guys, truly. The fact that I get to do what I get to do as a job sometimes feels unfair because I love it so much and I genuinely care about everybody who ends up on my client list. I will tell you this, none of my one-on-one clients have ever come from anything online. They have not. None. They have all come because at some point they were in a class with me, they're a referral of an existing client, or they've been on my email list, which has nothing to do with social media or the podcast, anything. Or maybe, you might have signed up because of the podcast. I don't know. And so I was just thinking about that. And I was thinking, why do I feel like I need to serve more and scale and bring in more when I have this handful of clients that they're great. And honestly, I can't do any more than that. I spent all of last year trying to downsize my clientele because I was spread too thin. But the world tells you if your business isn't growing fast enough, if you don't have aspirations to grow it even more and do the next thing, that there's something wrong with it. I am at heart a brick and mortar. I'm a small business owner. I love the town and community that my business is in. If I got a client from somewhere out of state, great. I've had clients from out of state before that I see on Zoom. But my heart is truly not only just serving the community that listens to the podcast and our past clients, but serving the community where I'm at, where I'm raising my family. And so I'm really just trying to instead of this idea of scale, just consistently scaling back and going, this is what I can get to. You guys, I've always answered emails so timely, and I do answer them timely still, but I've gotten to where I do not check my emails after 12. I just don't. I don't even get my computer out in the evenings anymore. And do you know why? Because I'm not in emergency medicine. I'm not a psychiatric healthcare provider to where somebody would call me in an emergency situation. And honestly, most of my clients will just text me if they need to reschedule or move their time. And so just little things like that where I'm going, this is enough. It's good enough. And I, again, have just put this pressure on myself to match this like boss babe hustle culture mentality that is just not me. I don't like it. So from a business standpoint, I'm completely rebuking that. We get emails every day about, do you want us to sponsor this? Do you want to be an affiliate for this? Can we send you this? And all of that's great. But again, no, we're just going to do our thing here. I do not want to get one more person cold calling me on Instagram. And if you have, I mean this, I'm not being mean to you, but I mean this, saying, Kira, we can help you scale. We can help you get more followers. The phone calls I get from insurance companies saying, we can explode your clientele list. Do you want to be an affiliate with this health savings account with this insurance company? And honestly, it offends me because to me, what it says, and sometimes how I read it is, so you're saying because my business is small, it's not enough. It's not good enough. If I'm not seeing 100 clients a week, the work I'm doing isn't valuable. And I think we just have to change that. If you're somebody who has a really scalable business, great. If you're somebody who has a small business and you do it well and it's enough and you've got 2 followers online, I want to be you because that's the energy that I'm carrying through in 2024. So there's that with business. Now, relationship wise. So when it comes to relationships, I have, and I've said this before, this isn't a big change. I just want to nurture the relationships I have. I don't want to go to everything. I want to be at my house. I want to go to the important things, but I don't want to go to every social engagement I get invited to. I really, really want to be intentional because if I say yes to that, I'm saying no to something else, which is a lot of times my kids. And when it comes to my house, on the surface, if you walked in, you would not be able to tell anything different in my home. But because I have completely broken up with this like hustle culture of how many things I can get done in a day and my self-worth being attached to it, the energy in my home is different. The energy in my home is different. Now, if you know me, I'm not necessarily a homemaker. I thrive a little bit more taking care of animals, going to the feed store, moving hay. I like to be a homemaker outside of the home, meaning outside on the farm. But some of the things that I've been able to bring to my home and the peace I've been able to provide to my kids and my family, because I have slowed down a lot. And because when I say slow down, because my attention has slowed down. My attention is not being divided in 80 different places at all times. I have been able to do things that are so small and insignificant. Like last night, which I hate doing this. Like I don't like doing this at all. It's not something that I'm excited about, but I did it. I paired up socks for like 15 minutes. And usually I will punt that ball, you guys. I will let them find their own. You're fine. It's socks. Who cares? But last night I sat down and I did it in silence for like 15 minutes. And I just thought, this is something that I don't ever do, but this could significantly change the way we get out the door tomorrow morning because Ori's not going to be looking for socks. Willow's going to have like the Nike ones that she wants popping out of her blazers, and I've got the time. So instead of checking my email or feeling like I need to post something because that might, add to the business, I'm going to pair up socks for my kids because that might lower their cortisol levels when they walk out my door tomorrow and have to go into this world. And again, it's so, so small, but things like that, because my attention the past few years has been so driven to how many things I can squeeze into one day. The way I viewed things as important and not has completely shifted. And those little things to care for them in those small ways has totally, totally become the focus for me. Whereas before I'd go, it's just a sock, they're fine. And I would check emails at first thing in the morning because I need to stay on top of that, because what if there's an email that really needs my attention? Honestly, again, there's probably not a message that's going to come to me via email that trumps getting my kids out the door in one piece and in a way that's not stressful for them. That aligns with my values. And so little tiny things like that they have been front and center. I am really enjoying being home more. And by being home more, I don't mean my physical body being home more. I mean coming home to my spirit, my mind, and my body, and existing in my home with my family with my full attention and presence, and making it known to them. Them seeing me just sitting on the couch with a book instead of an iPad, a computer, and a laptop and a planner. Them just seeing me with a book and no TV on, and them going, "Hey, do you have a minute?" And they know I do, because there's nothing stressful around me. My time is theirs. I'm just filling it until they need me. Things like that are really, really working for me right now. And so my invitation for you is to not feel like you constantly need to grow. You don't have to do more. Sometimes it's enough. Sometimes what you're doing it's just enough. It's just the right amount. And I would never encourage a client, like a health coaching client, to accomplish one task and immediately start another. We always focus on the maintenance phase. How can you maintain this? How can you enjoy this? How can you feel this? Well, how can we do that in more aspects of our life that are important, that are the most important, whatever that is for you? If you're not a parent, it might not be that. It might be something else. But for me, I'm backing off significantly, and it doesn't look any different on the outside, but it is a complete mind shift change. And it has brought me so much peace. Even my sleep has improved because I'm able to wind down easier, because the expectations of what I should fit in a day are manageable, and they're fair, and they're reasonable. And this is where I'm at. That's not to say in 3 months I won't get a wild hair and decide to do something, with my business and do something. But right now, this is what feels really, really, really good. And the lie that I was believing was that I needed to hustle to keep up. I needed to hustle, not to compete, but to be relevant in my business and in my life and what I was doing, and to have it validated. And I'm here to tell you, the things that are going on behind the scenes are so much more important than the things that people will ever, ever see that you're doing. The soul work happens behind closed doors, and that's what I want to lean into. So that is all for today. When the podcast comes out, I'm going to share those posts that I mentioned, because those were so helpful for me. And I definitely don't want to act like I'm so enlightened that I came up with it myself. And let me know your thoughts. As always, I'm here for support. I'm here to help steer you guys in a direction if there's some support that you're needing. And I'll catch you in the next episode. See ya.